Hello, this is Jody Amos reporting the weather in Kodiak, Alaska for the week of 10/29/12 to the ending of Friday 11/2/12. My first observations were done on Monday, October 29th, 2012 at 3:53 p.m. It was sunny and cool at the time of my observations and done in my backyard. My thermometer was reading 43.5 degrees Fahrenheit and 6.3 degrees Fahrenheit on the left side, and on the right it was reading 43.0 degrees Fahrenheit and 6.1 degrees Celsius. The barometric pressure was reading approximately 1,011 millibars. There was a slight wind of about a Beaufort scale of 1, and there was a westerly wind, and the humidity was approximately 68%. There was a slight wind, but there was no precipitation, and there was not much cloud cover. My readings were close to the weather maps provided throughout the week, although there were some slight variations compared to my observations to the weather maps. I realized that throughout my week they weren't completely accurate when I compared them from the National Weather Services. I also realized that my weather station is hanging behind my house, where it does not receive as much sunlight, so it does change the weather reading slightly. On Tuesday, October 30th, 2012, I took my readings at 3:30 p.m. Alaska Standard Time, and my left thermometer was showing 27.9 degrees Fahrenheit and negative 2.2 degrees Celsius, while on the right it was reading similar with 27.7 degrees Fahrenheit and negative 2.4 degrees Celsius. The barometric pressure was down to 1,002 from the difference of yesterday at 1,011. There were clear blue skies with high cirrus clouds. There was no precipitation, and the wind was approximately a 2 on the Beaufort scale. The maximum reading for the past 24 hours was 37 degrees Fahrenheit on the left and 43 degrees Fahrenheit on the right. There's slight variance there, and the minimum was 29.5 degrees Fahrenheit on the left and 32.7 degrees Fahrenheit on the right. I also noticed there were a few degrees differences for my left and right thermometer readings on some of the days. The high cirrus clouds forming gave the indication that there was a front moving in, and as we see on the weather Tuesday, there is a warm front moving down from the northeast. This front actually eventually causes a high windstorm later on in the week in Kodiak. On Wednesday, Halloween or Reformation Day, the 31st of 2012, I took my readings at my home at 2:50 p.m. Alaska Standard Time, just slightly earlier than the day before. As the Tuesday readings were my right and left thermometer did give a small variance. They stood as well on Wednesday. My left thermometer was reading 26.1 degrees Fahrenheit or a negative 3.2 degrees Celsius, while my right thermometer was reading 27.4 degrees Fahrenheit and a negative 2.5 degrees Celsius. The maximum temperature for the past 24 hours showed that there was 32.1 degrees Fahrenheit and 33.9 degrees Fahrenheit on the left as a maximum, and on the right there was a 25 degrees Fahrenheit on a 28.6 degrees Fahrenheit on the right for the minimum. On this day there was a fast-moving middle altitude clouds, but no precipitation at the time of the day. The Beaufort scale was up some more now to approximately 3 to 4 up from the 2 from the day before. The millibars on the barometric pressure were even lower now at 1,000 millibars. There was a west wind coming in, and the humidity was approximately 59%. On Thursday was a day in which the wind was so severe that it was blowing large objects over during the night. The strange weather began in the middle of the night of Thursday, November 1st, 2012. I took my readings on Thursday, November 1st, 2012 at 2:45 p.m. Alaska Standard Time. The left thermometer was reading a temperature of 37.5 degrees Fahrenheit and a 3 degrees Celsius, while the right was reading 41.2 degrees Fahrenheit and 5.1 degrees Celsius. The warm front that came through Kodiak had raised the temperature slightly, so the max reading on the left was 41 degrees Fahrenheit and 43.5 on the right. And the minimum reading was 35.5 degrees Fahrenheit and 41.2 degrees Fahrenheit. These readings were from the warmer weather that came through during the huge windstorm. When I took my reading, the barometric pressure was at its lowest for the week at 997 millibars. There was only a slight precipitation, although later in the day there was hail at a few times. The wind was now slowing down to more like a 2 on the Beaufort scale. However, through the night and before my reading, the wind was at a strong 6 throughout the night. On Friday, I took my reading at 4 o'clock p.m. The temperature was reading still warmer than it was at the first of the week, with 40.1 degrees Fahrenheit and 4.5 degrees Celsius on the left, and on the right it was reading 40 degrees Fahrenheit and 4.4 degrees Celsius on the right, yes. The barometric pressure was now going back up to 105 millibars. The sky was strangely half large, stormy nimbus clouds on completely blue skies on the other half. There was only a slight precipitation, and the wind was only at a 0 to 1 on the Beaufort scale. Through the past 24 hours, the max temperature was 45.2 degrees Fahrenheit on the left and 45.8 degrees Fahrenheit on the right. However, the minimum was 38.1 on the left and 38.6 on the right. It was a wild week of weather down here in Kodiak as we look at the week's weather images. Now looking at satellite images from November 2nd, 2012, we can see the swirling in the wind, and it was accurate to the weather experienced here in Kodiak. The temperature and weather changed drastically throughout this week, and now we're experiencing a very brisk cold weather as the front has passed us here in Kodiak, Alaska. This is my weather report from Kodiak, Alaska for the week of October 29th, 2012 to November 2nd, 2012.